wall to dress some pity any ass boy. I used to be a fighter, and I still got hands. And I'll knock your short ass out. I'll shoot your perm straight out your head.
I didn't want to be a movie star. No, you couldn't be a movie star. There are 30,000 new scripts in Hollywood every year. Not one of them asks for a country bumpkin black dude that can't talk good, baby, and look like Mr. Potato Head. There ain't none.
Name a celebrity who has a big mouth and is not afraid to use it.
Country bumpkin black dude that can't talk good, baby, and look like Mr. Potato Head.
But I still know how to turn my hip and shift that weight, and I'll knock your short ass out. I'll shoot your perm straight out your head.
It looks like things might get heated between Katt Williams and Steve Harvey. Katt just hit back at Steve after Steve publicly said he'd knock him out. A few months ago, Katt had a lot to say about Steve, calling out many people in the industry and sharing some pretty harsh opinions. He even named Steve in his criticism. At first, Steve didn't seem to care and didn't respond, but it turns out that he was bothered after all. Now, more than 7 months later, Steve has finally decided to speak up and warn that he might get physical with Katt if he sees him again. Let's dive deeper into this mess, shall we? But of course, before we go any further, make sure first that you subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell for more updates and videos like this. Now let's get going.
Steve Harvey at InvestFest. He had a few things to say. Number one, about Katt Williams, and about when Michael Rubin was up here talking about the black community. Let's take a listen to the Katt Williams stuff.
You will never have a hater that's doing better than you. Always know that. Don't get off the wall to dress some pity any ass boy who ain't got shit going for himself. Now you done stopped your climb up on the wall so you can come down here and talk to his little punk ass. Don't do that, man.
As many of you might know, Katt Williams has never been a fan of Steve Harvey. Earlier this year, he made that pretty clear when he accused Steve of being a thief and a plant in the industry. This all started back in January, during a fiery interview with Shannon Sharpe, where Katt took shots at several comedians, including Kevin Hart, Cedric the Entertainer, Ricky Smiley, and of course, Steve. He said Faison's never done his own tour in 30 years. Steve Harvey doesn't do stand-up anymore. Cedric doesn't write. I'm sorry, he doesn't write. Ricky Smiley has been playing the same old black woman forever, but like you can't get a young fan base with that. Katt accused Steve of being jealous of the late Bernie Mac. He claimed that Steve was against Bernie while he was alive, but started copying Bernie's style after he passed away. Katt also criticized Steve for stealing jokes from Mark Curry and pretending they were his own. He called Steve a talentless fraud, saying that Steve once claimed he wasn't interested in movies. But the truth was no one wanted him because he was just a Bernie Mac wannabe with no real talent. Katt even said that Steve watched Mark Curry's sitcom and then stole everything from it.
You think I'm gonna let you shit on Bernie and then come get me? I'm the next king? Fuck you. Why? Because the whole time Bernie was here, you was acting like you was funnier than him. The reason you was supposed to go last is because it was your tour.
Katt said, now Steve has a sitcom where he plays a principal, sporting a suit and a high-top fade that makes everyone think he's got the best look around. But it turns out that high-top fade is just a wig. And then he wonders why he's not a movie star. He claims he didn't want to be one, but this is the same Steve who once criticized Bernie Mac while copying his style. I didn't want to be a movie star. No, you couldn't be a movie star. There are 30,000 new scripts in Hollywood every year. Not one of them asks for a country bumpkin black dude that can't talk well and looks like Mr. Potato Head. There ain't none. You would have to have range. I played a lot of characters, 60 movie roles. I'm not playing Katt Williams in there. Why? Because the whole time Bernie was here, you were acting like you were funnier than him. The reason you were supposed to go last is because it was your tour. Tell the truth, it was Steve's tour. It was going to be called the Kings of Comedy. It was Steve's tour. These are the guys opening for him. Of course, you've got to close if it's your tour. That's why it was such a big deal.
Do you consider yourself a king of comedy? Where the Katt?
No, they consider that.
Oh,
like when after Bernie left, them same three guys I'm telling you about, the Kings.
Yeah.
Right? Because DL is the greatest.
Yeah.
There's no DL slander gets tolerated. But they came to me. I was supposed to be the fourth king. I got the offer.
Then what happened?
But I turned it down.
Why?
Because you shit on Bernie.
But Katt wasn't finished with Steve. He accused Steve of lying about being homeless just to get sympathy from people. Katt claims Steve has never been homeless, and that while he was pretending to be down on his luck, he was actually making up to $3,000 a night touring with Mark Curry. He stated, "This is like Steve Harvey telling people he used to be homeless. That's my story. That's not his story. Steve Harvey was never homeless. When he and Mark Curry were touring 25 years ago, he was making $3,000 a show in cash and doing 5 shows a week. Did they just tell the stories? Thanks to my wife, I'm here. Thanks to my wife, I'm where I am. You said that about your first wife. You forget that you told us it was her. Then you went and married somebody else that thinks like a man. Like, what are you talking about? They think they can rewrite history."
Like Steve Harvey telling people he used to be homeless. That's my story. That's not his story. Steve Harvey wasn't never homeless. When Mark Curry was touring with him 25 years ago, he was making $3,000 a show in cash and doing.
Williams did a great special about the Comedy Store in Fat Tuesday, where he mentioned that Steve, Cedric the Entertainer, Kevin Hart, and Tiffany Haddish all came through and made false claims. According to him, Cedric never performed at the Comedy Store, and Tiffany was only seen at the Laugh Factory. Katt also accused Steve of taking payments from shady people in the industry to stay quiet about certain issues. He claimed that Steve stopped doing stand-up because Katt embarrassed him badly during a show a few years ago in front of 10,000 people, which really hurt Steve's ego. They pay you to not talk about things they don't want you to talk about. They tell you that themselves. Steve told you that he stopped doing stand-up because he had 7 TV shows. The only problem is, when he stopped stand-up, he didn't have those 7 TV shows. He stopped stand-up because he got in a comedy battle called the Championship of Stand-Up Comedy with one Katt Williams in Detroit in front of 10,000 people and lost. Katt Williams said Steve is actually bald, and the hair we see is just a wig, which is why he couldn't do stand-up anymore. Now he's telling another story, claiming he got so big because Bernie and others wanted to be movie stars.
Then what happened?
But I turned it down.
Why?
Because you shit on Bernie. And I know the truth. You think I'm gonna let you shit on Bernie and then come get me? I'm the next king? Fuck you.
After the interview, many people sided with Katt and filled Steve's comments with criticism, calling him a fraud. Steve acted like he was too good to respond directly, so he posted a clip talking about how haters always say the worst things and that it's best not to give them the satisfaction of a reaction. It seemed like a classic move for someone trying to deflect from the real issue. But like I said, people could see through all that, and they went off on him even more, like this person who said, "Guilty people usually can't sit idle when the truth about them is added to the public." Steve replied that he doesn't address haters. If he was innocent of what has been said, then an innocent person would have used the code. Silence is how you address the haters. Another person said, "I'm not going to address the haters," then spend the next 2 minutes addressing the haters, saying a whole lot of nothing. Accused of being a snake to Bernie, Steve brings up God and says, "Get the F out of here." It turns out people were right. Steve's speech about ignoring haters was just a way to avoid addressing Katt. After 7 months, Steve is finally responding, but it's clear that no one is impressed with his weak comeback. In a recent interview, Steve went off on the haters again, and many people figured he was targeting Katt. He claimed none of his haters are doing any better than him, and warned that if anyone brings him up again, he'll go back to his old ways and deal with them physically. Like I mentioned before, people think Steve's response is way overdue. He should have let out all this anger back in January when the drama was still fresh, not now when we're almost at the end of the year and gearing up for Christmas. One person even said, "Steve, come on, it's almost 2025. You're late." You can definitely tell he's feeling that way from his heated language and name-calling. Katt never insulted Steve personally, but he spoke the truth, and the truth always brings out strong reactions. Another person said that Katt's interview was 5,698 hours ago. We've been through 3 seasons, 5 U.S. holidays, 40 U.S. Olympic gold medals, a new presidential candidate, and a partridge in a pear tree, and you're just now responding? We're good. Meanwhile, Katt has been taking shots at Steve Harvey for quite a while, especially concerning his family drama. If you've been keeping up with Steve's rocky romantic history, it's clear that his ex-wife Mary has frequently accused him of being unfaithful during their marriage, particularly with his current wife Marjorie. Unsurprisingly, Steve strongly denied these accusations, trying to paint Mary as a bitter ex who couldn't handle being replaced. What makes this story more complicated is Mary's significant role in Steve's life and career. She supported him financially, invested her own savings, and was crucial in creating the comedy club that boosted his success. Despite her major role, Steve allegedly betrayed Mary by cheating on her and ending their relationship after he became famous. The situation got even more complicated when Katt Williams jumped in, backing up Mary's claims. Katt called Steve a fraud, suggesting that he used Mary as a stepping stone to reach the top.
I got $40,000 10 times. 10 times. 10. The ranch property, our ranch that he calls his ranch, or wherever he goes to do the mentoring or whatever, that was our property, okay?
As mentioned before, Steve Harvey's relationship with his ex-wife, Mary Harvey, has been anything but friendly, with a lot of drama since their messy divorce in 2005. During the divorce, Mary made explosive claims, including calling Steve a serial cheater. After a heated court battle, Steve was ordered to pay Mary more than $40,000 a month until March 2009.
So you say to yourself, why would somebody intentionally go this far to hurt you?
So you were with him before any of this?
Yeah, with him, like as in the trunk of the car with him.
Wow.
Thanks to my wife, I'm where I am. You said that about the first wife. You forget that? You told us it was her, then you went and married somebody else that think like a man.
Despite the bad blood from their split, Mary was initially reluctant to speak out against Steve, probably because of their shared parenting responsibilities. However, things changed in 2007 when Steve married Marjorie. Mary's resentment grew because Marjorie was one of the women Steve had allegedly cheated with during their marriage. This tipping point led Mary to speak out in 2007 when she released a YouTube video exposing Steve. In the video, Mary shared personal letters and emails between Steve and Marjorie from the time Steve was still married to her, adding a whole new level of drama to their already messy history.
So you were with him before any of this?
Yeah, with him, like as in the trunk of the car with him.
Wow. Wow.
I was that.
Adding another layer to the already tumultuous saga, Mary later revealed that Steve never fulfilled his financial obligations. He didn't complete the $40,000 monthly spousal support payments and failed to pay any child support. This financial betrayal left Mary in a dire situation, forcing her to sell her house to support herself and provide for their son, Winton. The financial hardship further deepened the strained relationship between Steve and Mary, worsening both the personal and financial toll of their already troubled history, making their past even more complicated.
With all the emails and the text messages and the different things that were that I was finding out about.
In a shocking turn of events, Steve Harvey used his wealth and connections to gain full custody of their son, Winton. According to Mary, Steve cut off all communication between her and Winton and even turned their son against her by allegedly speaking badly about her. This created a deep rift, with Winton eventually distancing himself from his mother. All of this happened while Steve was still failing to pay spousal support, leaving Mary in financial trouble, forcing her to sell her home to survive. In a surprising turn, it later came out that Steve was accused of mistreating Winton. TMZ dropped a shocking story about an incident where Steve reportedly got a call from Winton's school, revealing that Winton had lied about finishing his homework. This raised concerns about Steve's parenting and the emotional strain it added to the already tense relationship between Mary and her son. The whole situation is a complicated mess of betrayal, financial struggles, and family drama, with each new detail exposing more of the troubled history between Steve and Mary Harvey.
I thought the least that he could do, make me whole at the end of it. He left. He just left, walked out the door.
The troubling claims didn't stop there. Winton, Steve Harvey's son, allegedly described incidents of physical maltreatment involving a belt and a paddleboard. In a shocking police report, injuries were documented, with photos showing bruises on Winton's buttocks and right thigh, along with cuts on his leg. Winton told police that the mistreatment was so severe, it even made it hard for him to urinate for days afterward. Despite the strong physical evidence, the case took an unexpected turn when it was dismissed in court. Steve Harvey's powerful connections and financial resources appeared to help him avoid any legal consequences. This adds another disturbing layer to the story, hinting that Steve's push for custody may have been motivated by something other than a concern for his son's well-being. The fact that he seemingly manipulated the legal system to escape accountability raises serious concerns about the fairness and integrity of the process. In a surprising turn, Mary Harvey challenged Steve's claims of hardship, calling his story of homelessness a complete lie. She argued that Steve never actually experienced homelessness and that the dramatic tale was made up to gain sympathy and create a more compelling narrative. This revelation adds another layer of complexity to their already messy history, highlighting the web of deception, personal grudges, and efforts to control public perception that have shaped the ongoing feud between Steve and Mary Harvey.
Now Steve got a sitcom where he the principal and he wear a suit and then he gets this high top fade, making all black men think he got the best lineup in the business, and it's a man unit.
Many people were skeptical of Mary Harvey's claims, brushing her off as a bitter ex-wife with a personal grudge against Steve. However, things took a serious turn when comedian Katt Williams came forward in support of Mary, backing up her story. Katt not only confirmed Mary's allegations of mistreatment, but also called Steve Harvey a fraud, accusing him of stealing jokes from other comedians to boost his career. Katt Williams stirred things up even more by accusing Steve of being jealous of the late Bernie Mac during their careers. He claimed that Steve was against Bernie while he was alive, but started copying Bernie's style after he passed away. This painted Steve as not only mistreating people close to him, but also being shady in the comedy world. Katt also said that Steve stole jokes from comedian Mark Curry, adding to the accusations of stealing other people's work.
The same Steve that went to go watch Mark Curry do his whole sitcom and then stole everything Mark Curry had.
The ongoing drama not only raised questions about Steve Harvey's character, but also revealed a darker side of the entertainment industry, highlighting the fierce competition and accusations of copying that often come with the quest for success in comedy. As Katt Williams continued to call out Steve, the story around Steve Harvey grew more complicated, bringing both personal and professional controversies to the surface.
Man was funnier than all of y'all, and y'all thought y'all had one over on him. You thought he was black and ugly, and you were good looking, and he couldn't make it 'cause you did.
Katt Williams kept digging into the Steve Harvey saga by questioning another part of Steve's story. He backed up Mary's claims that Steve had made up a tale about being homeless, saying that Steve wasn't honest about his financial troubles. According to Katt, Steve was already making good money before becoming widely famous. He claimed that even in the early days of Steve's career, he was earning $3,000 a night from touring with comedian Mark Curry.
This is like Steve Harvey telling people he used to be homeless. That's my story. That's not his story. Steve Harvey wasn't never homeless. When Mark Curry was touring with him 25 years ago, he was making $3,000 a show in cash and doing 5 shows a week.
This revelation further damaged Steve Harvey's credibility, suggesting that he might have exaggerated or misrepresented his past struggles to make his story more dramatic and gain sympathy. As Katt Williams kept pointing out the alleged inconsistencies in Steve's life, the controversy around the famous comedian grew even bigger, uncovering a complex web of personal and professional deceit. Katt Williams kept highlighting what he saw as Steve Harvey's flaws, this time criticizing him for not acknowledging the significant role Mary played in building his career. Although Williams didn't name Mary directly, it was clear he was accusing Steve of not giving proper credit to those who were crucial to his success.
All lies. Steve and Cedric never performed at the Comedy Store at all. Tiffany was only seen at the Laugh Factory. In 15 years in Hollywood, no one in Hollywood has a memory of going to a sold-out Kevin Hart show.
Williams reportedly voiced worries about Steve's behavior as a husband, hinting that he might repeat past mistakes in his marriage to Marjorie. This got people talking, with some disappointed by how Steve supposedly treated Mary. One commenter even speculated that Steve's actions might be influenced by Marjorie's looks and criticized the lack of respect shown by Steve's son.
Your mama's house, Marsha's house, my apartment, and whatever you had purchased for Marjorie. What point in there would he have time to be homeless?
The public debate about Steve Harvey's personal life, sparked by Katt Williams' revelations, show how complex fame and relationships can be. It also highlights the potential fallout when someone's actions come to light. The commentary reveals a blend of disappointment, concern, and a push for accountability as these new details emerge. It's definitely intense to see Steve seemingly threatening to harm Katt. It seems like Steve might have been reacting to the ongoing drama and personal attacks from Katt. As for whether Steve was actually talking about Katt, it's a strong possibility, given the timing and the context of their conflict. Steve's comments seem like they could be a direct response to Katt's criticism and public feud. But what do you think? Do you feel like Steve's responses was warranted, or does it add more fuel to an already heated situation? Let us know in the comments. That's all for today. We hope you enjoyed that video, and if you did, make sure to hit like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more videos like this.